Chachamim and Mosdot that are doing wonderful, and we're really sitting on their shoulders to do many good things. So, as we know, the Megilah is a symbol of a renewal of Torah Shebichtav. In many ways, we see it's very similar. There's a chiyuv to write the Megilah on a klaf. It has to be written on parchment. It has to be with a dio. According to some, it has to have a amud. Do many things that it looks like we are trying to mimic. We're trying to accept the Torah in a way. Every year with this Megilah, we don't do it to another Megilah, Megillat Eicha. There's no chiyuv to really do it. Megilah, Chazal made in a way that it should resemble a shtickle Kabbalah Torah, and that's what the Gemara says, because even though they accepted the Torah, B'methan Torah 10 was betoch yira. It was more like Kafa Aleim Harki Yigid. Allah Baruch Hu was sort of pressuring them to accept it, but now comes a time where they see Allah Baruch Hu's hashgacha betoch nistar, and that made them be mekabel b'ahava, and that's what it is. In a way, we read it in a shul, Rav Ahadat Melech, we do it with tzibur, and we're yotze as a cloud. And that's only done because we have this inyan of Shomei Keoneh. Shomei Keoneh makes it that we are able to listen to others, they're motzi us, they have kavanah to fulfill our obligations. And that mutual relationship that we have, every Jew, and Chazon Ish goes into this barichud and Shomei Keoneh, that you have to have the koach hashemiyah, you have to have the one who's listening in, and you have to have the one who's speaking, the speaking and the shemiyah together makes it that you're yotze. Kiveger goes a little bit more into depth with arvut, that with the fact that we are responsible in a way for each other, makes it that we can fulfill each other's obligations. Because if you don't do the mitzvah, I'll be in trouble. It's a big boat, it's a big ship, we're all in it together. If you decide to make a hole in it, all of us are going to sink down, all of us are going to drown into this ocean. So therefore, the same way you have an obligation to give tochacha, you have the obligation to prevent others from doing a sin, also you can the mezaki on their behalf, the chiyuv of this mitzvah. So
you are explaining that how come everybody's not reading the Megillah, you said.
Right, we're doing it, even though there's a chiyuv in every yachid, but we are doing it as a klal, and that only works because of this rule that we have, Shomei Keoneh. So Gemara brings the Makor, and Gemara Sukkah that Lamed Chet brings the Makor, the source of this this din of Shomei Keoneh, from a pasuk by Yeshayahu that they read him the letter about the destruction of the temple coming, and the pasuk said he read it. He never read it. Someone else was reading it to him, and this pasuk doesn't really tell you much about halacha. He was not trying to be yotze, the Megilah, the Eicha, whatever it was that he was reading. It was just a message that was given to him through nevuah. He didn't read it. Someone else read it to him, and the pasuk says he read it. He never read it, he just listened to it. So Shomei Keoneh, it sounds like it's a asmachta, it's more like a Gilui Milta Ba'alma, just showing you that such a concept is a logical concept, that you can listen in and you could, as if you said it. And the question is, how far you take this? How far you take the inyan of Shomei Keoneh? Now the chiyuv of Megilah is that you have to listen to every word. So Chanarach says that every word of the Megilah has to be heard. You can't leave a word behind, but a letter behind. And what if, and nowadays it gets tougher and tougher as time goes on and we cannot concentrate. People fall asleep. Whatever it is. What if you miss a word? The Pri Megadim says, don't worry about it. If you miss a word, have a chumash handy. Even you're supposed to be reading from a klaf, you're supposed to be reading it from the Megilah, which is written on a parchment with dio. So Shomei Keoneh, the fact that you listen to the Chazan reading it for you is as if you read it from the entire Megilah. If you missed a word, so you read part of it from Chumash, and as we know, if a sofer missed few words until almost half of it, as long as majority of the Megilah is written on klaf, the minority part of it is written out loud, Ba'al Peh, you're still yotze. So therefore, if you read few words from the Megilah, even though you're reading it from a regular Chumash, since the majority of the Megilah was heard from the Chazan who's reading it from the klaf, you can't add it to. So even a part of it is heard from the Chazan, and part of it is read by you Ba'al Peh, put together, you're yotze l'chiyuv. It's not like hatachila because you're supposed to listen to this whole thing from the klaf, it has to be read from the klaf. But if you read part of it Ba'al Peh, you're yotze. It was interesting to see that Rabbi Derham says the reason why you read the four Pesukim HaGeulah, four the Pesukim we read at loud, the things that has to do with Mordechai, the begadim that he received. Why do we read it out loud? Simple understanding is Simcha, because this Pesukim talk about the Geulah, the redemption of this Galut, this issue we're handling. So we read it out loud. Another reason is because people fell asleep, and to awaken, to make a pause in between. So they made it that you should read it loud. So this way everyone takes a little break and renews their kochot to continue on the Megillah. I think maybe that's the reason why the kids also make a lot of noise for every Haman, even though we think of it as Ramah says don't make fun of any minhag, and this minhag has a source. Maybe one of the sources to this minhag was that people should have this noise left and right to shouldn't fall asleep, because we see how important it was that we should read it out loud. Point is, even though you're supposed to read it out loud, the Chazan has to go back and read it again for everyone to be yotze, because you reading the Pesukim out loud, it's only you reading about that. You're supposed to listen to the whole Megillah from the beginning till the end from the klaf. So you're saying the Pesukim is not enough, you're supposed to listen in. Shalom Zal Norbach says a chiddush. She says that you should have in mind not to be yotze with your own reading, because if you don't say a word, just read it. Some certain mitzvot, even if that kavanah you're yotze. If you just read it before the Chazan says it out loud, your amira is going to make it that you're yotze, you're part of those psukim mitoch from a chumash, not from the klaf. So you should have in mind not to be yotze, but wait for the Chazan and have that to be the real chiyuv that's going to give you the kiyum of this mitzvah.
As a hidur?
Well, he's cautious that when you're reading it, you're yotze already the psukim. So when the Chazan reads it again for you, you miss from the klaf. You miss the parts that you're supposed to be reading from the klaf. The Megilah has to be read from the beginning till the end from the klaf.
You're saying it's better to be yotze from klaf than...
Of course, that is the Yachad Kollel. The Megilah says the Yachad Kollel is supposed to do it that way. I mean, missing few words is only b'diavad. You have no choice. But the Yachad Kollel, everything should be heard from the Megilah directly, from the Chazan, because he's reading from the klaf. Unless you have a kasher Megilah, and you're reading from the Megilah, and those four psukim also read from kasher Megilah, then of course you have no question asked, and no question to be, to fix it up. So the inyan of Shema Keoneh, how does it work? Just to open the topic a little bit with there is a Roshanshad talks about the inyan of Aseret Bnei Haman. Aseret Bnei Haman, the Chazan has to say B'neshima Achat, right? B'neshima Achat means that you have to read all the 10 sons of Haman with one breath, because they all got killed at the same time. They were killed first, they were hung after. So when they were killing them, they killed them all at the same time, their neshamot left at the same time, then they hung them up one by one. So the point is, we want to make this very clear to everybody that the nest was so pashut that everyone got killed. So that neshima achat, who's saying it? The Chazan is doing it. I'm not doing it. Right? I'm listening to the Megilah, the Chazan says it with neshima achat. Do we say Shema Keoneh is as strong to say that it's him talking, and therefore him saying it is ki'ilu I said it? So for the Amir Shabbat, for the reading of the Megilah, I understand. But how about the Tana'im, the conditions that comes along with the Kriya? I only listened to what he said, so as if I said it, but I said it quietly, because I didn't see it, I didn't say it loud. So the inyan of Neshima Achat, I didn't do, the Chazan did. Right? The idea of saying the whole 10 sons of Bnei Haman with one breath, the Chazan did and I did not do. The Roshanshad says you're not going to be yotze with that, and that's why the minhag in some places was to read the Aseret Bnei Haman. One of the Ashkenazim very common. And before the Chazan says Aseret Bnei Haman, the Sibur says Aseret Bnei Haman with Neshima Achat, with one breath, just to be yotze that inyan of Neshima Achat. And then the Chazan would repeat, and he would say the whole thing all over again. Mishabur doesn't like this minhag. He says nothing to go with. This is nothing that he's choshesh for. The makor for this Roshanshad is really a Bet Halevi. End of the Rashid of Chumash, he writes that one Chacham wanted to say that one Kohen, when Kohen Guduchan, one Kohen can say the Bikat Kohanim, Yevach Hashem Mishmerecha, and everyone can listen in as well. So he argues. He says that can't work. Why not? Because there's a Tanai, there's a condition within Yachad Kohanim that it has to be said b'kol ram. Shomea Keoneh, listening in to the words of the Chazan only helps you for saying it. But b'kol ram, I'm not speaking it out loud. My Shemiat Keoneh, my listening into his words coming out of his mouth only counts that I said it quietly. But the kol ram sheba, I'm not yet before the Kohanim cannot do this. That's the B'talel.
Is it b'diavad if you say without kol ram also you will say?
So I guess he holds that that's not going to work l'chatechila. I mean, whatever the inyan are, the inyanim are for any mitzvah, if you cannot fulfill the tanai and the conditions that comes along with it, don't do it. The problem with this betalevi is that we know Megilah Megilah, you're supposed to hear it, and you have to say loud enough that your ears can hear it. If the betalevi is correct, that Shomea Keoneh, all it means is that I said it quietly in my heart. That's as if I said it, fine, I said it. But I didn't say it loud enough. How in the world, everyone's Yotzei Megilah B'tzibur. Rob Ahadat Melech. Everyone says you're supposed to come together, and one should say for the whole world, for the whole tzibur. Shomea Keoneh only helps you to say it, but to hear with your ears doesn't work. If Shomea Keoneh does not fulfill the Tanaim, if Shomea Keoneh does not mean that you're sort of him, whatever he does for you counts for you, and destroys the whole idea of Megilah B'tzibur, and that's the kasha of the Chazon Ish on this V'talevi, and he argues. And that's Mishnah Berurah's psak, that he argues on this Minhag HaOlam, that he wanted to say Aseret B'nei Haman Min Shema Achat. And if anything, according to Rav Shalom Zalman Aruch, causes more issues, because with saying it, you're Yotze already the chiyuv of reading the Megillah, not from the Klaf, but from a Chumash, and it's not the Chatechillas B'di'evet.
All ram is required by Megilah?
It has to hear, the Mechaber, but you have to hear with your ear. I mean, it has to be loud enough that you can hear it. It's also maybe not the Chatechillas B'di'evet, but the point is that you didn't say it loud enough to hear with your ear, you're not Yotze Mitzvah V'namuvcha. So you're trying to fix one issue, you bump into a bigger issue of not reading from Klaf. So
Chazon Ish holds that what Chazon Ish holds.
Shomea Keoneh is mamash, you are, whatever he does for you, takes care of your feelings well. Him reading it for you, it's as if you did it the same way he did it. So he said it loud, you said it out loud. He said it b'neshima achat, you said it b'neshima achat.
So even by Yachad Kollel should have according to Chazon Ish.
Right, so then that would come out that even according to the whole idea of the Talevi, he knocks it out. And therefore, Shomea Keoneh mamash means this is you. Now this Shomea Keoneh sounds like, true. You're being yotze with someone else's chiyuv. Sometimes it's possible to do chatzi. What we're saying is that even though most of it you heard with your ear, part of it you said it out loud yourself, you can mix the two and make it work. And the truth is, that is something that Rabbi Akiva Eiger brought up before. Rabbi Akiva Eiger's case is that you have a bar mitzvah boy who's not so sure if he's 100% mature. Sometimes the bar mitzvah boy at age 13 doesn't have shtisar or doesn't have yet the two hairs that needs to determine he's considered a mature kid, a person to be mostly others. Now, ladies have a chiyuv to listen to kiddush, maybe midoraita, right? The chiyuv is midoraita. Can they listen to kiddush from a 13-year-old, or maybe all of us? Can we listen to a 13-year-old saying kiddush for us if we're not so sure if he has a chiyuv to read the Megillah? Now, Shomea Keoneh means that he has to be obligated to help you fulfill your obligation. So he brings the Magen Avraham that says that women shouldn't do that. Women should read their own. The case that he's talking about is that, anyways, ladies should be saying the Kiddush on their own because they can't concentrate so well. So they're going to have to read the whole Kiddush on their own. Rabbi Akiva Eiger says, the best thing to do is that the first bracha and the last bracha, the lady should be yotze with the kid, with the child, with the 13-year-old, and the middle part of the Kiddush, she should say it herself. And this could come up many times, and not just by a 13-year-old. You have people who sometimes say kiddush, they don't know how to say it right. So you can't be yotze kiddush with their kiddush because they're not saying the words correctly. At the same time, they're holding onto the cup. So the whole time we're thinking we're yotze with him because he's holding onto the cup. Shomea Keoneh, he's Amir of kiddush. He's saying of kiddush helps for us. But there's a Tanai, there's a condition that he has to hold on to the cup of Kiddush. So if he's not saying it right, and I'm not Yotze with his Chiyuv, I'm not holding on to the cup either, I'm not Yotze. So Rabbi Kiveger says that if you listen, let's say he's able to say Baruch Atah Hashem, that much the person is able to say, or let's say the lady understands it and that works. The rest of the Kiddush is important. That's the right. The whole Zachor, the whole Zechira of Shabbat is mentioned in the middle part of this Kiddush. If she says that part herself, and she's Yotzeh, right, with the words of Baruch Atah Hashem of the beginning, and then Baruch Atah Hashem Shabbat, the starfut, the addition of this bracha and the middle part of it helps that she should be Yotzeh. What we're saying over here is that a person can listen to Kiddush. Part of it he's Yotzeh with listening in, part of it he's Yotzeh by singing himself. So you have elder person, he cannot pronounce every word, that's it. But he can say Baruch Atah Hashem, that much he's able to do. And he can finish it up, Baruch Atah Hashem, the last part of Kiddush. But the middle he's not able to say. I'm not holding on to the Kiddush cup, he's holding on to the Kiddush cup. I want to be Yotzeh with him because he's the one holding on to the Kiddush cup. Comes out according to Rabbi Kiveger, you are able to listen in to the bracha, first bracha and last bracha, and the middle part of it, which is the essential part of Kiddush, say it yourself. Chatzi chatzi, half of it is said through Amira, half of it is heard through Shemiah. That works. He says it again. He says that, women do not have the obligation, the right to say Berit Torah in bench. When they say Birkat Hamazon, they cannot say Berit Torah. They don't have Brit Milah, and they're not Mitzvah, they're not obligated in Talmud Torah. And in benching, we mention, it's very important to mention the idea of Brit Milah and also Talmud Torah. A lady does not have any obligation to say these things. If a lady wants to be motzi, wants to say the words of benching out loud for others to hear, a man can't do that because he's missing out from Brit Torah, which she has no obligation to. So Rabbi Kiveger says no problem. Everything else she can say, Brit Torah, men can say themselves. So it comes out according to Rabbi Kiveger. You could mix the two, and the source is really from this Pri Megadah that we just saw by Megilah. That part of it you're able to listen in with Shemiah, and part of it you also with Amir. So it comes out that Shomeh Keoneh is mamash you talking, and you're filling in the parts that you cannot hear with your own Amira. So your Shemiah is mamash as if you're speaking it out.
Maybe Kadavazon, the Chiyuvim are not the same.
That's what he's saying. Well, on the side that is they have a Chiyuv D'oraita. They could be Motziyu. They cannot be Motziyu Berit Torah. That much of it they cannot do. So that you can do
but
yourself.
If you say it's not D'oraita,
then of course it's not negative.
Oh, so he's not saying that.
No, he's going on the side that it's Midoraita. Berit Torah would have to be said by others.
Once they have the general obligation of the whole Birkat Hamazon, they don't say Arvus like other Birkat Torah.
And that's to say, if they have to do with the Rabbanon, they cannot be Motzi Chiv D'oraita. And Rabbi Kiveger learns Arvut, which is always if you're obligated. Right? Arvut, even though some want to say Arvut by Nashim, that Akum Rava wanted to say that Arvut, the whole idea of us, are all Jews being connected, doesn't really apply to women. Why? The Arvut is not meant for, it was only men that were part of this obligation to keep each other going with mitzvot and all of that. So the Kiveger says no, it has to do with chiyuv. If women are bar chiyuv in that mitzvah, Arvut works. If women are not obligated this mitzvah, it's only the Rabbanan, the Arvut, the connection that we have doesn't help us to be motzi, to fulfill our obligation. Now if Shomeh Keoneh means listening into someone saying something for you and you're obligated in that same mitzvah, you're Yotze, does that mean you mamish spoke it out or not? This could make a big difference. I remember in yeshiva, many guys used to daven Shemoneh Esrei a little longer. On Motzei Shabbat, there was only one Havdalah for the whole yeshiva. After Arvit Motzei Shabbat, they used to make one Havdalah, and everyone listened into Havdalah and they were Yotze. Someone took a longer time for Shemoneh Esrei. His Shemoneh Esrei took like, let's say 10 minutes, whatever. He would miss Havdalah. And it would be a pain in the neck to go look for someone who has wine, grape juice. So what if you're in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei? You interrupt and just listen in to the person who's making Havdalah. So you're in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei and you're listening in to Havdalah. Do we say that his Amira, him saying the Havdalah, is considered a hefsek? Because you're interrupting in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. It's as if you're talking. Or should we say Shema Kioneh doesn't necessarily mean that you're interrupting, just means that he's saying, his words helps me through Shemiah, not through Amir. So this is really a machloket Rishonim, the Ritva, and that Gemara Sukkah brings this idea. He says Shema Kioneh, first he wants to say, yeah, it's considered you speaking it out. Therefore, if you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei and you hear Kedusha, don't interrupt. And don't listen in, don't try to be Yotze. Because if you do that, you're interrupting the middle of Shemona Esrei with other things. Just go, continue on. Then he says, no, but my Rabotai, my Rebbeim, do not pass in that way. Shema Kioneh does not mean that your mom is saying it. It just means that you're listening in and somehow it just works. And the Rashba argues, and he says, no, it's considered you saying it, but majority of the Rishonim, but there are others who argue on this Rashba, they say Shema Kioneh does not mean that you're mamash, as if you're speaking it out. And therefore it's fine. Rabbi Shachatavitz Paskin, he has a book, there's a sefer written, and he speaks on this topic, and he paskins that way that Rabbi Rishonim, Shema Kioneh does not mean you're mamash speaking it out. So therefore, in the middle of Shemona Esrei, you interrupt and you're listening in to Kedusha, to Havdalah. Yes, you can be Yotze. A person could be in the middle of Shemona Esrei, they're reading Megilah, and he doesn't want to finish his tefillah, he'll miss. He's able to interrupt. Well, the issues are that maybe you'll miss your tefillah because it takes a long time to listen to the Megilah. But let's say those are not issues. Yes, you can listen in and be Yotze with Barachot, with Havdalah in the middle of your Shemona Esrei. So Shema Kioneh does not necessarily mean that you're saying it. It's beautiful that we have this.
So it's not contradiction with Neshima Achad and these things. For that part, we say we say it is really much like he is saying it.
Yeah. So that the two combination of the Shemiah and the Dibur, that his Dibur works for my Shemiah. Doesn't mean that my Amir works. The Arvut makes it that his words counts for me, but doesn't mean that I'm saying it. So therefore, whatever he does, Neshima, that fits in well, because it doesn't have to be me saying, because I'm not doing Neshima Achad, I'm not doing anything. His obligation somehow includes everyone in it. He's able to include any Jew that wants to be Yotze, and his Kavanah works for all of us. It's interesting that this mitzvah of Kriyat HaMegilah is done with Tzibur, but often that's like mamash. Everyone should gather up together. Remember, Yachad Kollel said this Vart at the Siyum Hashas, and he printed in the Sefer as well, that in Dayenu we have two parts. Like if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have taken us out of Mitzrayim, not give us the booty and the money of the guy, in Dayenu would have been enough. He said it makes sense. Like if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would do A, not B, it would make sense. So one part of it makes no sense. It says that Hashem would bring us to Har Sinai, but would not give us the Torah, Dayenu. Bring us to Har Sinai, not give us the Torah Dayenu. What Har Sinai? What's the Megilah of standing by Har Sinai, looking at the mountain, beautiful scene, Dayenu? So he says that Har Sinai was what? Keish Echad Belev Echad, Achdut, the fact that everyone got together, the fact that the Jews were standing together with Belev Echad, Keish Echad, Dayenu, even if we wouldn't have accepted the Torah. But the point is, the prerequisite for accepting the Torah is Achdut, and that's what he says in the Sefer. Purim was a new Kabbalah, and only happened with Kimu v'Kiblu, Kibel, without the Vav. As a Yachid, means everyone got together, B'shlach Manot, Methanot Avyonim, all the mitzvot of Purim is there to bring Achdut, to bring closeness, because that is the key for Haslach in Talmud Torah. He brings down that the Chida and his Chabra, Arid Al-Ghazi and a few other Gedolim, they understood that their Haslach in Limud is only if there is real Achdut and real closeness. And they wrote a whole shtar, a whole long piece of paper that we are all going, and it's printed. I think at the end of one of the Vadia's farm, they printed that paper, that all the Chevra, all of those in that group called Chevrat Ahavat Shalom, were going to be together and take care of each other and be for each other, and they all signed it as a shtar, that we have Achdut. And that would give them Haslach in their Talmud Torah. And that's something that I think the theme of this Chag is this Achdut that we all are going to go through. That's beautiful.